Hey everyone, it's Tom Sidney Bushnell here again from Site Club. Welcome to another session about all things President Trump, Trumpology, the codes that he speaks to us in. So those that are new, just very briefly, if you are able to add up letters in words and find out the numerical value, then you can understand everything that President Trump is telling us behind the veneer of just what is being said. So for example, the word Trump, T is the 20th letter of the alphabet, R is the 18th, U is the 21st, M is the 13th, and P is the 16th. TRUMP comes to 88, which is the magic number. It's the Infinity Lionsgate number, August 8th, etc., etc. So just do it at home. Get a calculator out. If you've got a calculator on your phone, just get that out while we're talking. It helps as well if you put captions on the YouTube. When I'm speaking, you'll be able to see visually it come up, and the words and the numbers, etc. Seems to pick up my voice quite clearly on YouTube, so grateful for that. But yeah, welcome to Site Club. This is a follow-on from my last episode, which is on my channel, which is Site Club. Do us a favour if you would, come and say hi, click like and subscribe, and if you click the bell comes to 31, B-E-L-L, and that is like, bell is also the value of 31, but it's also the value of 31 grams, which is a troy ounce of gold. So metaphorically, click the like bell, and who knows, maybe you'll start to see the wealth and gold come into your own life. So thanks for that, guys and girls. And also shout out to Charlie Ward. I do a lot of episodes with Charlie on his show, on the Charlie Ward Show. So go to his channel and subscribe and like and click on the bell as well. So just wanted to ask you guys to do that. Also, as well as a little bonus, what I'll do is I really appreciate all your comments. Those that share and like, whether it's on YouTube or Instagram or Twitter, Facebook, anyone that does that, or WhatsApp, sends it to friends or text, write a little message, just say, hey Tom, thanks for your video, I shared it with such and such, and just tell me what platform you shared it on. When you do that, I will give you a personal heart and also a thumbs up. Alright, so if you do that, I'll say hi, and also put where you're from, so it's great to get an idea of where everyone's from. So that being said, let's get into the meat and bones of the episode. So last episode I did with Charlie Ward, and it was titled Proof that JFK is alive, and JFK won. Also JFK Jr. and also Bobby Kennedy, they're all alive, all the Kennedys are alive. But particularly President JFK, 35th President, John Fitzgerald Kennedy, is well and alive. And that was illustrated by the video on September 11th, 2020, which was in a field. It was the field where the Flight 93 went down, and a man by the name of Mr. Ed Root was there, and I suspect others like Bobby and JFK Jr. were there as also. President Trump was there with Melania and some others, but Mr. Ed Root spoke, and that was JFK. So I'm going to put the link in the description again to that video, so by all means check that out. From about minute 25 onwards, he gets introduced at minute 25, 38, and then he comes up, takes the stand, and then starts to speak. But an extra proof on why we know it's JFK is just listen and you'll hear that it's him. And there's plenty of proofs in the previous video and the one prior to that, when me and Charlie predicted it on the September the 10th, so the day before. But President Trump, he speaks on minute 38 and 30 seconds, and he says, note this is 38 plus 30 comes to 68, and Mr. Ed Root, R-O-O-T, is which comes to 68 is the disguise that JFK was in at that particular time. But President Trump says this on 38 minutes and 30 seconds. He says, turn to this guys above this field. So he says, turn to the skies above this field. That's what he says on 38 minutes. Sorry, yeah, 38 minutes, 30 seconds. Now, ordinarily, on the veneer, the surface, he's talking about take to the skies. But when he says it, you may even need to slow it down. But he says, take to this guise. So this guise, meaning disguise. The word G-U-I-S-E, guise. And he says above this field, meaning that someone has taken to disguise, or to guise, to this guise above this field, which is in reference to Mr. Edward Root, Mr. Ed Root, who is JFK. And there's some interesting numbers on that as well. The other thing I just wanted to mention quickly was JFK, J plus F plus K comes to the value of 27, which is kingship, Egyptian Templar, Trinity, etc. Greg first taught me that, so thank you for that. And also the word and colour red comes to 27, hence wearing these colours today. The number 7 comes to 65, and that also comes to the word and colour white. So I've got my stripes here, the 3 stripes. We'll be talking about 3 kings possibly later as well. So, but the words that President Trump shared, this is what he said. He said, turn to this skies above this field. So turn comes to 73. So turn, the word turn, T-U-R-N, comes to value 73. The word to, T-O, comes to 35. The word this comes to 56. 56 is another reference to JFK. JFK is 56 years since 1963. When we get to November 22nd in 2020, it will be then 57 years, but right now it's 56 years. Guise, G-U-I-S-E, which comes from the root word of disguise, is 61. 61 is casino. It's also Don Jr. It's a few other values. Incidentally, when you add this guise, so 56 plus 61, that comes to 117, which is a lovely marker for a double marker. It's a double mark. Well, 1 times 17 is Q. 17th letter is Q. 11 times 7 is 77. So that's a really powerful number for a number of people, including President Trump and JFK and JFK Jr., etc., and others. But also, that's it. So it's actually another one. And 1 plus 17 comes to 18. So 18 is in the community in the following represents JFK Jr. Hence R. So R is the 18th letter, but JFK Jr. they refer to him as R. You can even see the emoji R on WhatsApp, and that comes to 18. So that's a reference to him. The next set of words was above this field. So that's 45. The word above comes to 45. Again, the word this comes to 56, and the word field comes to 37. So 45 plus 56 plus 37 comes to 138. 138 is a reference to a number of things. 1 being 13 plus 8 comes to 21, which is also 37777. And also 1 times 38 comes to gold. So when you spell the word gold, G-O-L-D, it comes to 38. So when you add 73, 35, 56, 61, that comes to 225. And 22 plus 5 comes to 27, again, which is kingship, which is JFK, which is also the colour red. 225 plus 138 comes to 363. And we know that 63 was the year that Kennedy was assassinated, taken into protection, hence he's appeared again in this year. But that made me think of JFK, obviously, for 63, but also it's 3 of them, 363, so it made me think of JFK Jr., his son, and Bobby Kennedy, RFK, his brother. Hence the 3 kings, etc. that I mentioned. There are many kings, but I'm talking about these ones today. So, also, I've been guided this week by a few couple of people. One being Patrick O'Carroll. So thanks for your input, Patrick. Patrick comes to the value of 78, which again, I've said this before, but 78 is the value for Kennedy. So the word Kennedy, Kennedy, comes to 78. It also comes to the value of October. So October, which we'll be going into soon, comes to 78. Incidentally, I've mentioned it before, but for those new, the value of September is 103. September was when JFK appeared again on September 11th. The value of September is 103, which is JFK's current age. And people were saying in the previous video, oh, he looks too young. Well, if you think about time travel, advanced Tesla medicine, etc., all those things, then anything is possible. O'Carroll comes to 94, which is incidentally is November, the month of November. So again, thank you for that. So October plus November, or Patrick plus O'Carroll, comes to 172. 172 can come to 34, which is 17 times 2, hence Q and Q plus. 17 plus 2 comes to 19. 19, go back last week, the memorial service on September 11th, and President Trump and others brought up that it was 19 years ago to the day, back in 2001, when the tragedy of September 11th happened. 1 plus 7 plus 2 comes to 10, and 10 is 5 times 5, 5 plus 5, which again is a loud and clear signal. So 5 plus 5 is 10. It can also be represented by 5 times 5, which is 25, which is Jack, a short name for John Kennedy. He was known by Jack, and there's others with that name, so shout out and love to those two. So also 5 plus 5 and a 5 is 55. So Melania is 55. Her name Melania adds up to 55. So she's a loud and clear signal. Okay, some other things that were pointed out to me is 27. So again, JFK, red, plus 41. So 41 represents the word king, because it's actually, when you spell K-I-N-G, comes to king. And also the word alien, A-L-I-E-N, comes to 41, which is king. So I've mentioned these two before, but 27 plus 41 comes to 68, which comes to Root, Mr. Ed Root, okay, who was the gentleman, the guise, the disguise that President Trump referred to, that JFK was in, above that field, literally physically above that field. And there were a few others as well, probably JFK Jr. and Bobby, etc. So another thing is the word 100 comes to 74. 74 is the age of President Trump. 74 is Jesus. It's also the salmon. I've made reference to before that President Trump is all these wonderful characters throughout time, including Jesus. And we'll just see that over time. I'm just sharing the information and the truth, but people will get to see that over time. He's redeeming and forgiving and pardoning people. Years, the word years, so 100 years, if you think of that. So years is 68 again, which is a direct reference to Root, Mr. Ed Root. Also, I mentioned before, is Barron, President Trump and Melania's son. Barron, B-A-R-R-O-N, comes to 68 as well. So 100 years, so 74 plus 68 equals 142, which is another way to say 43. So 1 plus 42 equals 43. Now the number 43 is coming up a lot as well. I've got personal references to that in regards to my dear grandmother Eileen and my grandfather Sydney, who incidentally I get my middle name from, and Sydney is 76, just like 1776, Thomas is 76, etc. So Emmett, Doc Brown, Emmett, I like to call Charlie that because he's Dr. Charles. So Emmett in the Back to the Future films is 76 as well. But the number 43 is really important, and that's coming up a lot. And we're going to talk more about that further in today's discussion. President Trump has been saying this a few times. He's been saying the word "say it." He just says it. Say it. He says it to the press. So if he makes out he can't hear them, he says "say it," and he does it on a certain timestamp, which is relevant. Yesterday he did it twice, just before he was about to fly off. I think they were going to Ohio. He said it twice in a broadcast. It was only like 5 minutes, and might have been, was it 5 minutes 47 or 5:27 or 5:43, something like that. But anyway, wasn't a very long broadcast. But he said the word "say it" to the press twice. Now, "say it," when you break it down, comes to 74. So President Trump is referring again to Jesus, Salmon himself. Okay, Salmon I spoke about a few episodes ago with Charlie, when President Trump likes the colour orange. He's self-deprecating, doesn't mind putting the tan on, etc. But orange is a really important number in all of this with Trumpology. And the orange fish is salmon. So salmon comes to 74. It swims against the current. It goes upstream, goes against everything. Q talks about the waters, following the waters. You've got the River Jordan, etc. The rivers, some of his people around him are Jordan, and other references to water, etc. But he keeps saying "say it." So he's wanting us to note that, and he did it twice. Also, that makes me remember Harvey Dent, Aaron Eckhart, talked about how President Trump is also Moses. He's also Batman. He's also the character Joker, because he is a Joker, and he's got the Trump card, which is represented by number 59, and that can trump all things. But Harvey Dent, the character played by Aaron Eckhart in the Dark Knight movies, when he's in the hospital, which incidentally hospital comes to 100, when President Trump's character, the Joker, because remembering he slid down the pile of cash and he burnt half of it, so we know that in terms of the reset and revaluation what's going to happen. And also the very first moment when President Trump and Melania appeared, they went down the escalators and they talked about money exchange, it was right above Melania's head. That was the very first moment when anybody knew that President Trump was running for presidency back in 2015, which incidentally was about a week, maybe 10 days after I'd met his daughter Melania, probably a quarter of a mile further up the road, on the corner of Central Park, where the Apple store is. And if you look on my Twitter, you'll see the photograph of me and Ivanka. Sorry, did I say Melania? I meant to say his daughter Ivanka. And just in the background is a nice golden 55 just to the left of Ivanka in that photograph. Must be a building or a shop, a boutique, 55. So hi Ivanka, thank you for the photograph. So when Harvey Dent, he shouts out and he says "say it," which is President Trump is now saying that exact phrase "say it," and that comes to 74. So another word that's come up again, which I've mentioned before, but again was referred to this week, was the word "which." Which adds up to 63. So whenever you hear "which" being said, it's also a reference to 63, which is JFK, the year that he that happened to him many years ago, 56 years ago plus. Also, some other ones that were pointed out to me this week, so appreciate this, guys or girls, is green zone. So green zone is 49 for green, and then zone comes to 60. 60 is also diamond. It's also Grant, and it's also orange. Green zone, 49 plus 60. I'm going to say this, I should have said this earlier. But another thing that was guided to me this week is ZAPRUDER. Okay, we've mentioned this a little bit before, but ZAPRUDER, the ZAPRUDER film, Z or Z, APRUDER, comes to the value of 109. Now, I was looking at this and a few things came up. One thing I did discover is my actual channel, Psych Club, the word psych, PSYCH, comes to 71. 71 is also represented by the word hearts, as in the suit of hearts in cards in the deck. And then club, again another reference to cards, is CLUB, comes to 38, which is actually gold. So I chose this a little bit before I started to be more aware of these things, but anyway, it's all good. So Psych Club comes to 109, ZAPRUDER comes to 109, and ZAPRUDER was a Q film, and the reason being is I've been guided to see this, and thank you for those that have pointed me on this. The word 17, okay, comes to, have a guess, 109. So the number 7, as I mentioned earlier, is 65, which is also white. Teen comes to 44, okay. 17, 65 plus 44 comes to 109. 44 is one of those magic ones as well for President Trump, so it's 2 Ds, it's 4 plus 4, 44, or 4 times 11. But 17 comes to 109, so thank you for those that guided me on that, gave me the pieces to figure that out, so thank you. And it's really important because the ZAPRUDER film was a Q film, okay? All of this was Q. Everything around JFK is Q. He is Q, he's one of the Qs, okay? Probably really the original Q. Okay, so going back to the green zone, so the word green zone, so 49 plus 60 comes to 109. Again, ZAPRUDER, Site Club 109. ZAPRUDER or Site Club is 17, it's Q. So I'm just grateful for all of it. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Some other words and references came up as well. So friend, F-R-I-E-N-D, friend, is 56. 56, again, I've mentioned, is the number of years since 1963 with JFK. Also, the word sir. I actually mentioned President Kennedy and said, thank you, sir, it's great to have you. But I've realised since then, the word sir, S-I-R, comes to 46. And I know another Sir Michael Gambon, the actor that plays Dumbledore. God bless you, Michael. I've got some great information on the numbers for Michael Gambon, which I'll do in another episode. But so the word Sir is 46. The other thing with 46 is the number for atomic palladium. I mentioned palladium a couple of episodes ago around Adrian Charles when I met him. We were just a quarter of a mile away from the Royal Palladium in London, close to Regent's Park, which incidentally there was a bosque of JFK, etc., which I've mentioned before. Some other words that came up was will and save. So will save you. So green zone will save you. So 56 is will. Save is 47, so atomic silver. The reflection of 74, which is Jesus, which is President Trump, which is salmon, etc. But 56 plus 47, so the phrase will save, will comes to, so will save comes to 103, which again is the current age of JFK right now. And then when you add the phrase or the word you, 61, which is casino, which is also my sister Tanya, which others, Don Jr. comes to 61. So 56 plus 47 equals 103 plus 61 comes to 164. So 164, 1 times 64 is 64. 64 is 8 times 8, hence 88, so it's the magic number of 88. Also, again, 1 plus 64 does come to 65, which is also 7, which is also white. Okay. So that being said, if you add green zone or ZAPRUDER to the phrase will save you, so green zone will save you, comes to 109 plus 164, which comes to 273. And 273 can be looked at by 27 times 3, hence kingship, Egyptian, Templar, Trinity, etc. So I've already spoken about how there are many kings, but JFK 1 is certainly one of those. And also the other 2 others, if there's 3 of them, the others that are with him is JFK Jr., his son, and his brother Bobby. So I like to think of those 3 as kings, but obviously President Trump is king, and many others, and Greg is making a claim on that as well, and we'll see how that all goes. But Greg is I like Greg, and I like his knowledge and understanding, and there's definitely something to that. Or you can look at another way. You can look at 2 times 73. So 2 times 73. 73 is 777. Again, I've spoken before, but President Trump, from the time he was born to the point of inauguration, was 70 years, 7 months, and I think it was 7 weeks, or maybe 7 days, but there was 77 and 7, so 777. JFK Jr., from the time of him going into hiding when his crash, back in 1991, 16th of June. The emoji on WhatsApp is 17th of July. So that was exactly 21 years later. So when JFK Jr. passed, 17th of July. Yeah, it was July, wasn't it? Yeah. 16th of July 1991. Fast forward 21 years, that takes you to the 17th of July 2020. So that's 21 years, or hence 777. And then also, which I spoke about last time in regards to JFK. So JFK, the time that he was away from 1963, November the 22nd, was 56 years, 9 months, hence the thing of birth, rebirth, 54 has a reference to that, and 21 days up to the September 11th, 2020. So again, another 777. So they've got all of that going on with the 777. Also, something that I just popped up while I was preparing my notes is it kind of happens sometimes. I got a random song pop up on Apple Music, and it was Enya, and I love Enya, but it's a song I've not heard before, and it was Trains and Winter Rains. Now, Enya actually comes up to 45, which is President Trump. Trains, they talk about the Trump train. Even before COVID, that people were talking about the economy, the Trump train, etc. But Winter Rains, I was thinking about this week, well, previously, but also this week, because I'd heard it on one of his addresses. But November Rain. So think of Guns N' Roses, which is in Terminator 2, and there's a nice kind of subliminal bit where when Arnold Schwarzenegger pulls out the gun to shoot the T-1000 in the corridor, there's a guy that gets shot to bits with Pepsi, but at the same time, Schwarzenegger pulls out the gun. He's got it in a rose box, so you've got the gun plus the roses, so Guns N' Roses, which is a nice thing. I actually got to meet, I saw Axl Rose many years ago at a club in London, at the Wellington, long time ago, when he had his cornrows in, and he was dancing with his ex-girlfriend Stephanie Seymour, if I remember her name rightly. But he had a great voice; he could boom and project. Anyway, that's a side issue. But it's interesting. I've met a lot of people along the road with all these markers that are in these timelines, which I'm grateful for. I didn't really get to meet him. He kind of walked past. He was kind of, kicking off, being Axl. But he definitely had a great booming voice. So if you're listening, Axl, hello. But November Rain. So if you think of the word rain, it can also mean rain, like rain to reign a king. Now we've got the election coming in November, and this is the election of all of elections. Calling an election made sure all these things are coming to be, and all these meanings. So Enya popped up anyway, so that was just a side issue, but there's some great numbers and thoughts and markers with that. So I've already mentioned before, September is 103, October is 78, and November is 94. Now, there's some things coming up that are going to happen, and I can't wait to see how it all unfolds. But Mount Rushmore, the monument, Mount Rushmore Monument, there's some markers and things coming up with that, and I'm going to go through why that is. So the word mount comes to 111. So a lot of people see 11s or 11 or 111 or 111, so 4 ones. So the word mount comes to 111. The word Rushmore comes to 117. Again, 117. So 11 times 7 is 77. 11 plus 7 is 18 for R for JFK Jr. And the word monument comes to 115. Now you can, 11 plus 5 comes to 16. 16 is 2 8s, hence 88 again. Now if you add all this together, that comes to 343. And 3 plus 43 comes to 46. 46 is the age that JFK was in 63. It's also the year that President Trump was born in 1946. It's also the atomic number for palladium. We've mentioned those before. But some interesting things have been happening in the sports world. Those that follow me will know that I like my movies and I like my sports, particularly football. Haven't seen as much of it with, it's a bit strange with no crowds and all the rest of it, but I do keep up to keep abreast with it as much as I can, but it probably doesn't grab my attention quite as much. But anyway, some things I've noticed. So the Premier League here in England started again last weekend, about 10 days ago. So Liverpool, the champions, the Phoenix Rising, etc., played a new team that's got promoted, Leeds. Leeds are an old team, but they're newly back to the Premier League. Now Leeds comes to 45, which is 45th president for President Trump. But the score was 4-3. Now when you add 43 plus 45, you get 88, which again is this magic number. I spoke about the Champions League final when Kingsley Coman, not Ronald Koeman, who I've met and now is the Barcelona manager, but Kingsley Coman scored the only goal in that game. He was number 29. He scored on the 59th minute, which is 59 is the Joker card. Also, Gareth comes to 59, which is the Joker card. And when you add up Gareth Bale, that comes to 79. And he's gone back to Spurs, which is great. So I look forward to seeing that. But when you add 29 plus 59 for Kingsley Coman, again, the number comes to 88, and that's 88. So 88 didn't score on the 88th minute, which I thought would happen, but number 29 scored on the 59th minute, which is the Joker card, 59. Joker, Joker, comes to 59. President Trump is also the Joker, has the Trump card, many Trump cards, can do anything out of the blue when needed. 88 equals 59 plus 29 in the Champions League final. But going back to Leeds and Liverpool, so the score was 4-3, so 43, add Leeds 45, the new team comes to 88. But there's some other things that are really interesting about this. There's a guy that I hadn't heard of before. His name is Mateusz Andrzejewicz Klich. He's a Polish player, and his name, Klich, last name, Clich, comes to 43, and his number is 43. Now he was involved in that game he scored. He scored on the 66th minute, and he was involved in that. So there was 3 sets of 43. So the score 4-3. He was number 43, and his name Klich is 43. So he had 43 plus 43 on his back. 43 plus 43 comes to 86, which is Memorial, going back to Flight 93 Memorial. That's a reference and value for that. But his name is interesting. So Mateusz, if I'm saying it correctly, it's Mateusz, comes to 105. Andreas, or Andrzej, 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 comes to, maybe it's a version of Adrian in Polish, let me know, comes to 78 again, which is Kennedy, which is atomic platinum, and it's Robert, and it's also Patrick, and then his last name is Klich, 43. So you add all those together, comes to 226. 2 plus 2 plus 6 comes to 10. 10 is a 5-5, a loud clear signal. Okay, so he scored, like I said, on the 66th minute in that game last weekend. So 66 plus 43 comes to 109. Okay, ZAPRUDER, 109. The word 17, 109. And I'm happy for it. 109 is Site Club as well, which is my own personal channel. So click and subscribe and click the bell. Troy ounce of gold, 31 grams. Troy ounce of gold. So click that. And improve your manifestations, etc. So, but if you think of the word no, or the abbreviation for number, NO, we've spoken before. That's 29. It's also the word for on. So when they flipped it from no to on, still 29. But when you add 109 plus 29, that comes to 138. And 138 is 1 times 38, which is gold. So the word G-O-L-D is gold. But then, interestingly enough, just 2-3 days ago, the weekend, so the second week of Premier League fixtures, Leeds were at home and they played Fulham. And Klitsch scored again. And he scored this time in the 41st minute. And 41, as I've mentioned earlier, is a reference to king, because K-I-N-G equals king. And also alien comes to 41 as well. So whenever you see anything about that film, Alien or Aliens, you think you're seeing king or kings. So score was 4-3, that's 43. Klitsch, his name is 43 and number 43. So 3 sets of 43 again, which adds up to 343 as Mount Rushmore monument. But 43 times 3 comes to 129. Okay, so 1 times 29 again is 29, referring back to the 29th of August, because August, A-U-G, the abbreviation, comes to 29. They switched it on the 29th of August. Okay, some other things happened, and also you can get silver and gold out of that, so you can do 1 plus 29, which is 30. 30 is 22 for atomic gold, and which is AU, and then atomic silver is AG, which is 8. So 22 plus 8 comes to 30, which is silver and gold, another reference for it. But I was watching the highlights on Match of the Day, and Gary Lineker, so those particularly here in England and other football fans around the world will know who Gary Lineker is. And I actually met Gary the weekend of my birthday again at the Norwich-Liverpool game. When I met Koeman, again Ronald Koeman, on the 15th of February of this year, so just a few, and I think it was Storm Dennis, and my cousin Paul, middle name is Dennis, and there was Hurricane Laura as well later in this whole thing of what we're in right now. But so Gary Lineker, interestingly enough, Gary's name comes to 51. 51 is another reference to Area 51, to Alien. So you can have 41 and also 51. And they both refer to the thing of Alien, and hence numbers. Actually, my nickname, Kronos, and numbers are interchangeable. 92. That comes to 51 plus 41 comes to 92, and that was Greg and Jack Kidd that gave me the nickname Numbers. And President Trump refers to numbers a lot and acknowledges. So grateful for all of it, everyone. Thank you very much. But Lineker comes to 74. So you've got President Trump, his age is 74. Jesus is 74. Salmon is 74. And Lineker's name is 74, which I didn't realise until today, actually. So when you add 74 plus 51, or 51 plus 74, Gary Lineker, that comes to 125. It's a loud, clear signal. Okay. And the reason I mentioned Lineker is because he said something at the weekend, and he's done this a few times, I've noticed. He said the word point, and he said point 3 times just in quick succession. The word point comes to 74 as well. So when he said point 3 times, 74 times 3 comes to 222. Follow the twos. Okay, we're always told to follow the twos. That made me think of the film Dirty Dancing, which is a Q film. We know that because it was re-released after lockdown. When the cinemas opened up, all these old films came out, and every old film that came out was a Q film. They wanted us to watch it, and I fell in love with the film Dirty Dancing. It's incredible. There's so many references in there. And incidentally, Patrick Swayze, his name comes to 177. So you've got the reference to 1 times 77. So again, 77. You've also got 1 plus 77, which is JFK Jr., which is 18, which is R. But the word title, Dirty Dancing, comes to 129, and also Judgment Day for Terminator 2 comes to 129, and both of those were re-released. And 1 times 29 is 29, etc. So you can see how this is all going, everyone. But then Scott Parker, who's the manager of Fulham, I met Scott earlier again in the year as well. Good luck for the Premier League this year, Scott. But Scott said something kind of out of the blue, but it was interesting. He said, talking about how his team, he said this phrase. He said red bulb goes off. So red again is 27, kingship. So red, JFK. Bulb comes to 37. So you've got again the 3-7 thing there. So 7 times 7, 777. We've spoken about that being 21, etc. The Shin, President Trump, JFK Jr., JFK, and others. But when you add red and bulb together, you get 64. 64, as we spoke about earlier, is 8 times 8, hence 8-8. And then he said the phrase, the rest of the phrase was goes off. So goes actually comes to 46, which again, 46 is a number that keeps popping up, which is a direct reference to the age of JFK when that he was in 63. It's also President Trump's year of birth, and again, it's the atomic number for palladium. And then off comes to 27. OFF comes to 27, and that is again kingship. So the word red. So red, kingship, off, and you've got the off-on thing, etc. going on. But you add all that together. So red bulb goes off, comes to 137, which comes to 1 plus 37 again comes to 38, which is gold, which is GOLD spelt out. Also, 13 plus 7 comes to 20, and 13 times 7 comes to 91, which is a reversal of 19. And the word 11th, as in September 11th, comes to 91. Spoke about that in the previous episode, so I'd encourage people to watch that previous one. But 11th comes to 91, so it's the reversal. Interesting enough, about Terminator 2, the film, that came out in 1991. So you had 19 and 91, the reversal of both. So you've got 19 years ago. But how they're reversing it, as spoken about in the Tenet film by Christopher Nolan, which is currently in cinemas, so I encourage you to watch that as well, is 91, so 1991. And also, it also breaks down, so 137 breaks down to 1 plus 3 plus 7 equals 11. And 11, as I've mentioned, is 11th, 91, but also 11, the word 11, again, is 63, which is the year of the assassination of JFK. And September 11th, so September is 103, 11 is 63, or 11th is 91. So you can see how all this ties in, everyone. And he appeared at the memorial on September 11th, or at September 11th. So these are clear markers to who that person was. And when President Trump said, take to the skies, but this guy's above this field, he was referring directly to JFK, and I would assume that JFK Jr. and Bobby and others were there as well. And breaking it down further, so 38, so the word 30 comes to 100, so 100, and then the word 8 comes to 49. Interesting enough, 49 is 7 times 7, so 7 sevens, so the word 8 comes to 77 as well. So when you see 8, you can see that. So 38, so 100 plus 49 comes to 149. It also comes to 14 times 9, which comes to 126. 126 is another reference to silver and gold. I met Melvin Bragg, the sports broadcaster, a few weeks ago, and his value came up to 126, his name. But 47 is atomic silver, plus 79 atomic gold comes to 126, which is 14 times 9. Now, I'm going to put this out on Twitter, but something I saw in the papers, I've mentioned before Jamie Redknapp a few weeks ago, how his name, Jamie Redknapp, comes to 123. Easy as 123, easy as ABC. 123, 38 is Jamie, Redknapp is 85, 38 is gold, the word gold, and Redknapp, 85, is the same as the value of silver. So silver equals 85 as well. When you spell out silver and add it up, it adds up to 85. So he comes to 123. He was, and as I mentioned before, I know Jamie a little bit. Well, I know Dad better than Harry, but I'll text Jamie once or twice a year. But Ashley Cole, I don't know Ashley, but I met him a few years ago. Ashley comes to 70, and then Cole comes to 35. when you add Ashley Cole together, 70 plus 35 comes to 105, which is incidentally is the first name of Mateusz Klich, the Polish player at Leeds, who's been a key feature in this with 3-4-3, etc. So, Jamie Redknapp was doing an exclusive with Ashley Cole, and it was on the back of one of the newspapers. I've taken a picture, I'll put it up on Twitter so you can have a look. So 123, i.e. Jamie Redknapp, plus 105, i.e. Ashley Cole, comes to 228. 228 comes up to the same value as Mount Rushmore. Okay, so Mount Rushmore, 111, which is Mount, plus Rushmore, which is 117, comes to 228. Now, half of 228 comes to 114. Okay, 114 comes up to the word Keystone. Just in front of Mount Rushmore there's a kind of holiday RV, holiday park, town community called Keystone. There was a big broadcast there on July the 3rd when President Trump spoke there in the evening. And so Keystone, half of 228 comes to Keystone, which is right there in front of Mount Rushmore. If you go to Mount Rushmore Monument, like I've said before, 111 for Mount Rushmore is 117, Monument is 115. When you add that together, that comes to 343, as I've mentioned. But 3 times 43 comes to 129. So 1 times 29 again is reference to 29th of August. Switching on, the word on, O-N, is also 29. And also you can get 30 out of that, 1 plus 29, which again is 22 AU, plus 8, which is AG, so atomic silver and atomic gold, 30 silver and gold. Another one as well, I've mentioned before, but 3 plus 43 is 46, so atomic palladium, and also the year that Kennedy was when he was president, when he was assassinated, and also the year of President Trump's birth. Now, if you take it a little further, Mount Rushmore Monument, everyone knows what that is, but also the official name, or part of the official name, is Mount Rushmore Memorial. So Mount Rushmore Memorial is 111 plus 117 plus 86, and that comes to 314. 3 plus 14, or 3 plus 14, comes to 17. 3 plus 14 is 17, which is Q. Okay, so we're going back full loop. Now, the official name I looked up is Mount Rushmore National Memorial, and memorial is 86. But also, incidentally, the name or the word national is 86 as well. So when you add 314 plus 86, when you add the 86 for national, gets you to 400. 400 is the word 400. So the word 4 is 60, which is diamond, which is grant, as in grants for the money, etc., and orange. And if you go from 60, you take grant or diamond or orange up to diamonds, grants, and oranges. That goes to 79, which is atomic gold. 100, again, we mentioned before, is 74. President Trump, Jesus, Salmon, Gary Lineker's name, 74. So 400 is 60 plus 74, which comes to 134. 134 is 1 times 34, which is 2 sets of 17. So you've got 17 and 17 comes to Q and Q plus, and that's mentioned a lot in the community. So thank you, everyone. Thanks for listening. Do like and subscribe. Send your comments, and I'll say hi and give you a thumbs up and a heart. And just want to say thank you to President JFK, to Junior, and to Bobby, and to the rest of the Kennedy family. It's great to have you back, sir. Thank you. And of course, as always, love to President Trump. Thank you for everything, sir. And to all the Trumps, to Ivanka and Melania and everyone else. And to Mr. Charlie Ward for his show, and all those others that are friends and loved ones. God bless everyone. Take care. I'll see you soon.